Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, one of the things that I covered very recently in a video was about OFWs, and if you're not familiar with that term, it's an overseas Filipino worker. Now, one of the things that the Philippines is famous for exporting is people, and this actually is good and bad. In some cases, people go abroad and they have a very good life. They support a family here, they build a house, they do lots and lots of good things at the cost of their own lives. Actually, I don't mean in a terminal kind of way, but they give up their lives probably by working one or two jobs while they're abroad. Certainly they don't make a fortune. Now, my friend Stephen of Hong Kong, when we were in Hong Kong, we talked about this situation, and he said that sometimes there is some jealousy between ordinary people who live in Hong Kong and overseas Filipino workers, because they're governed by certain rules which gives them actually a very good life. Well, that's very true, that as long as you're not brutalized by a criminal, you'll lead a very good life. And then if somebody takes it into his mind to do you some real harm, then you're going to be harmed. Now, that's not to say that that's what happens with people who are overseas Filipino workers, but just let me put a little touch of reality in. This is from our subscriber Fred Thompson, and I can say his name because what he's done is, this is a reply to a comment, so it's already in the public domain. At the time that my wife decided that she wanted to enter Canada via the nanny program some 30 years ago, you had to train in Hong Kong as well as other countries. Juvie went to Hong Kong, and although she was to be scheduled for 5 days a week, she had to stand her ground to hold it down to achieve 6. Nobody was keeping her from going to church. Let me see if I can hold this up and get myself in a picture. Whenever a family member used a restroom, now we're obviously talking about the people that she worked for now. Whenever a family member used a restroom, day or night, Juvie had to... Where's it gone? Okay. Sorry, I've got a haunted telephone. She had to stand her ground. Whenever a family member used a restroom, day or night, Juvie had to clean it immediately. When dinner was finished, Juvie's area for the night was the kitchen. She slept at the bottom of the pantry and used a piece of plywood as her bed, under which she kept her clothes so as to keep them as pressed as possible. She was there for 2 years and never let her family know anything, as she didn't want to worry them and to cause trouble. Now, this is so typical of Filipinos and the sacrifice that they make when they go abroad. They give up the whole idea of being able to spend any time with their children and their family, and they are the sacrificial lamb. There is no question about this in my mind. So, that's part of what is so appalling about this. Filipinos are usually shy and usually afraid of authority figures, especially when so young. It takes a special kind of, insert the colourful name that he uses, to take advantage so. So what you have is, you have ordinary lives which are way beyond anything that you or I could possibly imagine as being ordinary. Now, I say ordinary because if something happens every day, I should maybe have used the word normal. If something happens every day, then that's your normal life. And I know that our channel is, we say that it's a feel-good channel. Now, what's feel-good about this? Well, there's nothing feel-good about someone being treated like a slave, and there's nothing feel-good about anybody being taken advantage of in even more extremes, like rape and abuse, physical. On one of the other letters, they called the girl an animal. They called her all kinds of unspeakable names. And she was working 24/7 just to please these people. She was not allowed to go out on her own. She was not allowed to keep her passport. Now here's the little glitch on that. All of us normal people are saying, well, you don't give up your passport. Oh, no, you don't give up your passport. But when you arrive in a different country with the people that are going to employ you for the next 2 years, and they are figures of authority, and they say, oh, we'll need your passport. Now, if you have the temerity to say, well, why would you need my passport? I want to keep my passport. Oh, yes, you can keep it, but we have to have it because we have to register you with the local government. Doesn't it sound so reasonable? And isn't it soft peddling? And yes, there's no problem. You can have you can have it back. Now, as soon as you hand that passport over, you are done. Because now, if you're especially in one of the Arab countries under Sharia law, boy, if you're under Sharia law, you are an animal. If you're a woman, you are an animal. They treat servants as the lowest of the low. It's not a high altitude job. Wherever you are in the world, a maid is possibly the most menial task that you can do. You're cleaning up after other people. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but it doesn't rank high. Nobody ever said, I'm a maid, and everybody go, oh my God. They don't do that, do they? And I'm not trying to trivialize it in any kind of way. But the thing is that they have no rights. If you are to sleep on the floor in a pantry, we're talking about a pantry. Now, for those of you who don't know what a pantry is, it's where food is kept that actually doesn't have to go into the fridge. So it usually, even in a rich house, is not much more than probably 8 feet by 3 or 4 feet. And then it's shelves all around. So what's left for you? You poor maid, you slave. What's left for you is the ground. And you sleep on the ground. Now this woman apparently was in the lap of luxury. She found herself a piece of plywood. And she put her clothes underneath the plywood and slept on the plywood. Isn't that pitiful? Now, why does it feel good about this? Well, I tell you, if this makes even one Filipina out there think twice about going to live in a country where she knows it's Sharia law, or if it makes her research a little bit, almost any Filipina now can go into an internet cafe and can research things, and they can research what kind of life they are going to be leading themselves into in the comfort of a free society, which is what this is. Maybe we are all imprisoned by virtue of not having enough money and not being as rich as the next guy. Okay, well, okay, but we can still walk out on the street without being raped. We can still walk out on the street and find something to smile about. Even the most humble, wretched conditions that the people that we've helped live in, they still smiled. They still found something to smile about. This is to me, a legendary part of the Filipino. Somebody said, why the Filipinos? Why the Philippines? Plenty of other places you could have gone to run away to. You could have gone to Thailand, Indonesia, you could have gone to Hong Kong. So many places. When we went to Hong Kong, this is a little aside, when we went to Hong Kong, I'm sure that within their own frame of reference, Hong Kong people are as friendly as any in the world. But if you go to Hong Kong first and then come to Philippines, you've done it the right way. Don't go to the Philippines and then fly on to Hong Kong, because you will have been ruined by the Philippines. more smiles per mile in the Philippines, is my saying. You can meet someone on the street who has nothing. We have been invited into homes that are dirt floors with no furniture and or they're bamboo floors. So many of the homes that we're invited into, and we're invited without one word of apology. Nobody says, well, my home is very humble. They accept you into their home and you take it as you see it. So there's no shame felt by a Filipino usually if he invites you into his home, because the way that they live is the way that they live, and they're not a shamefaced people. They're very shy, but they're not shamefaced. No way. That's why they've got so much to smile about. So you can go into an internet cafe, and if you're watching this and you're thinking about going to work abroad, please do your research well, and then you will have made my channel, Beth and I, our channel, into a feel-good channel, because I'll feel good if you write to me and tell me I was going to go here, but I decided against it because I read some of the things that had been commented in your channel on your videos, and it made me realize that it would not be the right thing to do. It's a wonderful thing to make sacrifices for your family, but you have to think very hard before you sacrifice yourself. Make sacrifices. We're all making sacrifices, but don't sacrifice yourself. Be honest and true to the people you love, and they will be honest and true to you. Now, I'm not talking about perfect. You may have heard my little story about being perfect. I once wrote, I spoke to God today, and I had a good chat with him, and I said to him, could I be made perfect? Lord, could I be made perfect? And the Lord said, of course you can. Of course you can. You can be perfect. Now, there's only one thing about that, and that is that everybody wants to be perfect. So perfect is on back order. So here's what I suggest you do. Go out and be nice to people. Go out and be kind. Go out and be loving. Go out and be helpful. Go out and put a friendly hand on a shoulder that looks a little troubled. That's what I think that you should do. At least look at where you're going. Look at the kind of life that the so-called privileged are leading. Wealthy women in these countries have to go out in what I call, I'm sorry if I'm a little facetious here, but if they go out and they cover their face and they cover it here and they have all black and they don't show their hands, or heaven forbid that they should show an ankle, I call that the Batman outfit. Fits to me. Now, if ordinary people, the kind that you're going to be working for, suffer those conditions, think what your life is going to be. Don't sacrifice yourself. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in, and thanks to all of those people who wrote and told of their experiences in this particular area, because we need to make it more known. That would be a feel-good action. Bye for now. Please like, comment, subscribe, and please, before I go, if you know an overseas foreign worker, Filipino worker, please share this with them as a kind of an information thing. If you know someone who is considering going abroad to work, give them the link for this video. Share this video. We want people who are Filipino. We're not an expat. We're on an expat only site. We're not talking about pina coladas and 5-star resorts and white beaches. We're talking about ordinary life in the Philippines. So come and share that with us. If it makes you homesick, well, too bad. We'll make you even more homesick on the next video. If you want something special dealt with, you just tell me, and I'll do my best to deal with it without judgment, without criticism, and just, I hope, be able to share a little more knowledge to a few more people. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.